I stared at the family group chat, my hands trembling as I read Mom's latest message. Can't wait for our annual Myrtle Beach trip. Booked the same 3-bedroom house. Audrey, bring all 6 kids. You know there's always room for family. Hey lovely souls. At Family Life Tales we share stories about family that inspire, educate, and uplift you. If this resonates with you, please show your support by liking this video and subscribing. Also, take a moment to pause and let us know in the comments which country and state you're watching from. Now let's continue our story. Always room for family. The irony burned like acid in my throat. Mom, I typed carefully, what about me and Connor? We've been asking about joining for 3 years. The 3 dots appeared, disappeared, then reappeared. Finally, oh honey, you know space is tight. Maybe next year when we can afford something bigger. Next year. Always next year. I looked across our small apartment where my husband Connor was helping our 8-year-old daughter Zara with homework. We'd been saving for 2 years, setting aside $20 here, $50 there, dreaming of that first real family vacation. But apparently my sister Audrey's kids, all 6 ranging from 3 to 15, took precedence over my only child. Mama, are we going to the beach with Grandma this summer? Zara asked, her hopeful eyes meeting mine. I forced a smile. We'll see, baby. But inside something shifted. A seed of suspicion planted itself deep in my chest. Mom owned a successful catering business, lived in a 4-bedroom house in the suburbs, and drove a brand new Escalade. Money wasn't the issue. So what was? That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, Connor's steady breathing beside me. The pattern was becoming clearer. Christmas gatherings where Audrey's kids got the spotlight, birthdays where Mom's gifts to Zara were noticeably smaller, family dinners where somehow there was never quite enough room at the table for all of us. I grabbed my phone and started scrolling through Mom's Facebook photos from last year's beach trip. Audrey's family looked so happy, building sandcastles, splashing in the waves. Mom beaming in every shot. Then I saw something that made my blood run cold. The photo showed the beach house's interior, spacious, modern, with clearly more than 3 bedrooms. I counted them in the background, 4, 5, 6 bedrooms. The caption read, "So blessed to have this beautiful space for our family memories." My finger hovered over the screen, zooming in on details I'd missed before. The living room could easily fit 15 people. The dining table seated 12. This wasn't some cramped cottage. This was a luxury rental. Connor, I whispered, shaking him awake. Look at this. He squinted at the phone, then sat up straighter. That's huge. Why would she say there's no room? The pieces were falling into place with sickening clarity. I opened our family group chat and scrolled back through 3 years of vacation announcements. Every year the same lie, space is tight, maybe when we get something bigger, you understand. But the photos told a different story. Pool parties with extended family I'd never even been invited to meet. Barbecues where cousins I barely knew got prime rib while we got excuses. I need to call her, I said, but Connor caught my wrist. It's 2 a.m. Amara. Sleep on it. But tomorrow we need answers. I couldn't sleep. Instead, I did something I'd never done before. I called my cousin Destiny, who lived across the country but somehow always seemed to know family business. Girl, you just figuring this out now? Her voice crackled through the phone. Your mama been treating you like the red-headed stepchild since you married Connor. Audrey's always been the golden child, but it got worse after. After what? After you chose Connor over that doctor she wanted you to marry. Jerome, remember? She never forgave you for throwing away your future. Her words, not mine. My stomach dropped. Dr. Jerome Mitchell, the cardiologist Mom had been pushing on me right before I met Connor. The man who made 6 figures but treated service workers like dirt. She's punishing me for choosing love over money? Honey, your mama's been playing favorite since day one. But what you gonna do about it? The next morning I called Mom while Zara was at school and Connor at work. My hands shook as I dialed, but my voice was steady. Mom, we need to talk about the beach house. What about it, baby? I told you space is 6 bedrooms, Mom. I saw the photos. 6 bedrooms, and you told me there wasn't room for 3 more people. Silence stretched between us like a chasm. Finally, she sighed. Amara, it's complicated. No, it's not. Either there's room or there isn't. Which is it? Look, Audrey's been through so much with the divorce, raising 6 kids alone. And I haven't been through anything? Working 2 jobs to support my family, watching my daughter ask why grandma doesn't love her as much as her cousins. Don't you dare say I don't love Zara. Then explain it to me, Mom. Explain how you can afford to take 8 people on vacation but not 11. Explain how Audrey's kids get Christmas presents worth hundreds while Zara gets a $20 gift card. Explain it. The line went quiet except for Mom's heavy breathing. When she spoke again, her voice was cold. Maybe if you'd made better choices, you'd understand. Maybe if you'd married someone who could provide. Don't. My voice cut through the air like a blade. Don't you dare finish that sentence. But she did. Connor is a good man, but he's a janitor, Amara. Jerome was a doctor. You chose struggle over security, and now you're mad about the consequences. I hung up. Just hung up and sat in my kitchen, shaking with rage and heartbreak. 28 years old, and I was finally seeing my mother clearly for the first time. She'd written me off the moment I chose love over her definition of success. That afternoon, I did something that would change everything. I opened a new savings account and labeled it Zara's Beach Trip. If Mom wouldn't include us in the family vacation, we'd create our own. But first, I needed to know exactly how deep this betrayal went. I started with social media, screenshotting every family gathering we'd mysteriously never been invited to. Easter dinners, birthday parties, casual weekend barbecues, all featuring extended family I barely knew existed. Aunts, uncles, cousins, all smiling and laughing while we sat home wondering why the phone never rang. The pattern was disturbing. Every major holiday, every celebration, every milestone, we were systematically excluded. But Audrey's kids were front and center in every photo, being spoiled by relatives I'd grown up thinking lived too far away to visit. Look at this. I showed Connor the evidence spread across our kitchen table that evening. Cousin Rita's wedding last month. Mom said she couldn't afford to bring us, but look, there's Audrey with all 6 kids, wearing new dresses that probably cost more than our rent. Connor picked up a photo from Christmas 2 years ago. Wait, isn't this Uncle Tommy? I thought he lived in Atlanta. Apparently not. Looks like he's been at every family function for the past 5 years. Every function except the ones we were invited to, which is none. The doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I saw Mom's Escalade in our driveway, her silhouette on the porch. She'd never visited unannounced before. Amara, open this door. We need to talk. I looked at Connor, who nodded. Let her in. Time to get some real answers. Mom swept in wearing her usual Armor designer handbag, perfect makeup, that sweet smile that had been fooling me my whole life. But today I saw through it. Baby girl, I think we got off on the wrong foot earlier. Sit down, Mom. My voice was calm but firm. Look at these photos and explain to me why my daughter doesn't know half her own family. Her smile faltered as she saw the evidence. Photos of birthday parties for cousins Zara had never met, Christmas mornings with relatives I'd been told were too busy to see us. It's not what you think. Then what is it? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you've been deliberately excluding us from this family for years. Mom's composure cracked. You don't understand the position you put me in when you married Connor. The family had expectations. What family? These people? I gestured to the photos. The family I've never been allowed to be part of? Your grandfather never approved of mixing. The words hung in the air like poison gas. Mixing. I repeated, my voice barely a whisper. Mom couldn't meet my eyes. Your grandfather has old-fashioned views about interracial relationships. When you married Connor, he said he wouldn't be comfortable having you both at family functions. The room spun. My white husband, my biracial daughter, excluded from my own family because of an old man's racism that my mother had been enabling for 8 years. So you chose him over me? Over your granddaughter? It's not that simple. He controls the family trust, pays for everything. If I cross him, you'll what? Have to pay for your own vacations? Buy your own gifts? Actually work for your lifestyle instead of depending on a racist's money. Connor stepped forward, his jaw tight. Ma'am, with all due respect, I need to understand this. You've been taking money from someone who hates me and my daughter. He doesn't hate you, he just thinks we're not good enough to breathe the same air as his precious family money, I finished. And you agreed with him. I never agreed. I couldn't afford to lose everything. The business depends on his investment, the house, everything. Zara's voice cut through our argument like a knife. Mama, why is Grandma crying? She stood in the doorway, still in her school clothes, her innocent eyes taking in the tension. How long had she been listening? Hi, baby. Mom wiped her tears quickly. Grandma's just having a grown-up conversation. Are you mad at Mama because Daddy's white? Zara asked with the brutal honesty only children possess. The silence that followed was deafening. Mom's face went pale, Connor closed his eyes, and I felt my heart shatter into a million pieces. Why would you think that, sweetheart? Mom's voice trembled. Because Angela at school said her grandma doesn't like mixed kids, and that's why she doesn't visit. I wondered if that's why you don't invite us places. From the mouths of babes. My 8-year-old had figured out what I'd been blind to for years. Zara, go to your room for a few minutes while we finish talking, I said gently. Once she was gone, I turned to Mom with tears streaming down my face. She knows. My baby knows her grandmother doesn't want her around because of who her father is. That's not true. Mom protested. I love Zara more than life itself. Then prove it. My voice was steel now, forged in the fire of 8 years of rejection. Choose her over his money. Choose us over his approval. Mom's shoulders sagged. You don't understand what you're asking. If I cut ties with Dad, I lose everything. The business, the house, the lifestyle. I'd have to start over at 55. Like I started over when I married Connor? Like I start over every day, working 2 jobs to give my daughter what your racist father's money could provide but won't. It's not the same. It's exactly the same. Except I chose love and you chose money. Connor had been silent, but now he stepped forward. Mrs. Pierce, I need you to understand something. I've spent 8 years wondering what I did wrong, why you barely spoke to me at our wedding, why every interaction felt forced. I blamed myself, thought maybe I wasn't good enough for your daughter. His voice cracked. I watched my child ask why Grandma doesn't love her like she loves her cousins. I've seen Amara cry after every family event we weren't invited to. And you let us think it was our fault. I never meant for. Yes, you did. The words came out of me like bullets. You meant for every single thing that happened. Every exclusion was a choice. Every lie was deliberate. Every time Zara felt less than, you allowed it. Mom was sobbing now, but I felt nothing but cold fury. And the worst part? You made us complicit in our own exclusion. You trained us to be grateful for scraps, to never ask for too much, to always understand why we couldn't be included. You made us smaller so you could stay comfortable. What do you want from me? She cried. I want you to choose. Right now. This family, I pointed to Connor and toward Zara's room, or his money. Or them. But I won't let you keep one foot in both worlds while my daughter suffers. You can't make me choose between. I'm not making you do anything. You already chose. 8 years ago, when you decided his racist approval mattered more than your daughter's happiness. I'm just refusing to pretend anymore. The doorbell rang again. This time it was Audrey looking frantic. Mama called crying, said you were having some kind of breakdown. She stopped when she saw Mom's tear-streaked face, the photos scattered across the table, Connor's granite expression. Oh. Her voice was small. You figured it out. You knew. It wasn't a question. Audrey shifted uncomfortably in the doorway. Amara, it's complicated. It's really not. Either you knew our family was excluding us because of racism or you didn't. Which is it? I knew Grandpa had issues. But I needed Mom's help with the kids after David left. 6 kids, no child support. So you took the money and stayed quiet while they treated your niece like dirt? It wasn't like that. Then what was it like, Audrey? Explain to me how you could look at Zara and take vacations funded by someone who thinks she's inferior. Mom tried to interject. Girls, please. No. My voice cut through her plea. She needs to answer. Because I need to understand how my own sister could be part of this. Audrey's composure cracked. You don't know what it's like being a single mother with no education, no skills. When David left, I had nothing. Mom offered help, but Grandpa's money came with conditions. What conditions? That I wouldn't advocate for you. That I wouldn't push for you to be included if it made him uncomfortable. The betrayal hit me like a physical blow. You sold me out for money. I sold out for survival. You had Connor, you had income, you were fine. Fine. I laughed, but it was bitter. You think working 2 jobs while my husband works nights so we never see each other is fine? You think watching my child feel rejected by her own family is fine? I didn't know she felt. You didn't want to know. It was easier to take the money and pretend we didn't exist. Connor finally spoke, his voice deadly quiet. How much? What? Audrey blinked. How much money? What was our pain worth? What did you get paid to ignore my wife's tears and my daughter's confusion? Connor, please, Mom begged. No, I want to know. Because I need to understand what price tag you put on our humanity. Audrey couldn't meet his eyes. The house payments, the car, the kids' private school, the vacations, maybe $60,000 a year all told. $60,000. That's what it cost to make them comfortable with our exclusion. I looked at my sister, my mother, these women who had shaped my understanding of family and loyalty. And I felt something inside me die. Get out. Amara, please. Both of you, get out of my house. Now. You're being dramatic. I'm being honest for the first time in 8 years. Get out. They left, Mom crying, Audrey angry, both of them acting like I was the one in the wrong. I stood in my kitchen surrounded by evidence of their betrayal, Connor's strong arms around me, and made a decision that would change everything. We're going to Myrtle Beach. What? The same week they go. We're taking Zara to the beach and we're going to have the best family vacation she's ever had. Connor looked concerned. Baby, that's going to cost money we don't have. Then we'll make it. I'll pick up extra shifts, you can do overtime, we'll sell stuff, whatever it takes. But I'm not letting them have one more family memory without us. I pulled out my phone and started researching. Beach houses, hotels, vacation rentals in Myrtle Beach for the exact same dates as their trip. Amara, what are you really doing? I'm showing Zara that family isn't about blood or money. It's about who shows up. And we're going to show up for each other. But even as I said it, I knew this was about more than a vacation. This was about reclaiming our dignity, our right to happiness, our place in our own lives. I found a modest condo 3 blocks from the beach, within our stretched budget if we sacrificed for 3 months. It wasn't luxury, but it was ours. Are you sure about this? Connor asked as I entered our credit card information. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. The confirmation email appeared in my inbox. Myrtle Beach Getaway Condo, confirmed for July 15th to 22nd. The exact same dates as their family trip. Zara appeared in the kitchen, still in her school uniform, eyes red from crying in her room. Mama, are we really not going to see Grandma anymore? I knelt down to her level, taking her small hands in mine. Baby, sometimes grown-ups make choices that hurt the people they love. Grandma made some choices that hurt us and Mama has to protect our family. But I love Grandma. I know, sweetheart. And that's okay. You're allowed to love her. But we're going to love ourselves first from now on. Does this mean no more family? No, baby. It means we're going to create our own family traditions. Starting with our very own beach vacation. Her eyes lit up like fireworks. Really? Just us. Just us. You, me, and Daddy. A whole week at the beach just for our little family. Can I learn to surf? We'll see what we can afford, but we'll definitely swim and build sandcastles and eat too much ice cream. That night, after Zara was asleep, I called in sick to my weekend job and spent hours planning every detail of our trip. If this was going to be our first real family vacation, it was going to be perfect. 3 months of sacrifice followed. We ate ramen and rice, canceled subscriptions, sold everything we could spare. Connor picked up every overtime shift available. I worked doubles until I was zombie walking through my days. But every dollar we saved brought us closer to that beach, closer to proving that we didn't need their approval or their money to be happy. Zara didn't complain once about the tight budget. Instead, she helped plan the trip, researching free activities, making lists of shells she wanted to find, practicing swimming in the community pool. Only 2 more weeks, Daddy, she announced every morning, counting down like it was Christmas. The family group chat continued its daily chatter about their upcoming trip. Audrey posting about new swimsuits for the kids, Mom sharing restaurant recommendations, cousins I'd never met chiming in with excitement. I left the notifications on, letting every ping remind me of what we were doing and why. Then 1 week before our trips, Mom called. Amara, I've been thinking. Maybe we can work something out. Dad's been asking about Zara. No. You haven't even heard what I have to say. I don't need to. You chose money over us. That choice has consequences. He's willing to meet Connor. Maybe if he sees. Sees what? That my husband is house-trained? That he's one of the good ones? That our daughter is light enough to pass? That's not fair. What's not fair is making my family audition for basic human respect. One dinner. Just to see if we can build bridges. I looked across the room where Connor was helping Zara with a puzzle, both of them laughing at something she'd said. They deserved better than begging for acceptance from people who saw them as less than human. Mom, I love you. But I love them more. And I won't trade their dignity for your comfort anymore. So that's it? You're just going to cut us off forever. I'm going to protect my family. The way you should have protected me. After I hung up, Connor came over and put his arms around me. You okay? Yeah. For the first time in years, I'm exactly where I need to be. The next morning, I posted our first family vacation photo in the group chat. A picture of our packed suitcases with the caption, "Beach here we come," creating our own family memories. The silence that followed was deafening. Myrtle Beach stretched before us like a promise. Zara ran toward the waves in her new swimsuit, our one splurge, arms spread wide, screaming with pure joy. Mama. Daddy. Look how big it is. Our condo was small but perfect, clean, bright, with a view of the ocean from the tiny balcony. We'd packed sandwiches and snacks to save money, but as I watched my daughter experience her first real beach, I knew every sacrifice had been worth it. Family selfie. Zara demanded, pulling us close. We posed with the ocean behind us, genuinely happy for the first time in months. I posted it immediately, captioned, "Making memories with the people who matter most." The responses came quickly. Cousins I barely knew commenting with hearts and fire emojis, clearly not understanding the subtext. Then Audrey, "Where are you?" "Myrtle Beach." "Same as you." My phone rang within minutes. "Are you insane?" Audrey's voice was sharp with panic. "You can't be here. What if Dad sees you?" "Then he sees us. Living our best life without his permission." "Amara, this is going to cause problems." "For who?" "Because it's certainly not causing problems for us." I hung up and turned off my phone. "Who was that?" Connor asked. "Nobody important." We spent the morning building sandcastles, Zara directing us like a tiny architect. "The tower needs to be higher, Daddy." "Mama, we need a moat." For lunch, we found a small seafood shack where the owner took a liking to Zara, giving her extra hush puppies and teaching her to crack crab claws. "Y'all seem like good people," he said. "First time in Myrtle Beach?" "First family vacation ever," Zara announced proudly. "We saved up for 3 whole months." "Well then, this one's on the house," he said, refusing our money for dessert. "Every family deserves to celebrate." As we walked back to the beach, Zara between us, our hands linked, I felt something I hadn't experienced in years. Peace. Then I saw them. Mom's Escalade was parked at the luxury resort down the beach. Through the hotel's glass walls, I could see them, Audrey's 6 kids running around the enormous pool, Mom watching from a lounge chair, extended family I recognized from photos scattered around the resort's pristine deck. "Is that Grandma?" Zara asked, squinting toward the hotel. "Yes, baby. Can we go say hi?" Connor and I exchanged glances. This was the moment I'd been dreading and anticipating in equal measure. "Do you want to?" I asked carefully. "I want to show her my shells." We walked slowly across the sand toward the resort. As we got closer, I could see the exact moment Mom spotted us. Her face went white, then red, then she was frantically texting someone. Within minutes, Audrey appeared at the beach access gate. "What are you doing here?" she hissed. "Enjoying a family vacation." "What are you doing here?" "You know what I'm doing here. This is our family trip." Funny, I was never invited to this family trip. So how can it be ruined by people who were never supposed to be here? Zara tugged on my hand. "Mama, why is Aunt Audrey mad?" "Aunt Audrey isn't mad at you, baby. She's just surprised to see us." By now the kids at the pool had noticed us. Audrey's oldest, Malik, was pointing and saying something to the others. They all started walking toward the gate. "Cousin Zara," the youngest, Trinity, called out. "Are you staying here too?" "No, we're staying in a condo." "Want to see the shells I found?" "Mom, can we go to the beach with them?" Malik asked. Audrey looked panicked. "No, you need to stay at the pool." "Why?" This from Jasmine, the 12-year-old. "We haven't seen Zara in forever." Because, Audrey faltered, looking back toward the resort where Mom was now standing at the window, phone pressed to her ear. Because what, Audrey? I asked quietly. Because your grandfather's money comes with conditions about who your kids can play with? That's not. Yes, it is. Tell them, Audrey. Tell your children why they can't play with their cousin. The kids were looking between us, confusion clear on their faces. Is this about Grandpa Pierce? Malik asked suddenly. Is this why we never see them? Smart kid. Malik, go back to the pool, Audrey ordered. Why doesn't Grandpa Pierce like Uncle Connor? Jasmine asked with teenage directness. And why does that matter more than us being family? This from 14-year-old Cameron, the one I remembered as being especially close to Zara when they were little. Audrey looked trapped. It's complicated. It's really not. Cameron's voice was cold beyond his years. He doesn't like them because they're mixed race and you choose his money over them. Right. Cameron. Am I wrong? Silence stretched between us, broken only by waves and seagulls. Finally Malik spoke. That's messed up, Mom. You don't understand. I understand that cousin Zara is family and family should stick together. But we don't stick together because some old man pays for stuff. Trinity, only 6, walked over and took Zara's hand. I don't care what anyone says. Zara's my favorite cousin. Mine too, whispered Jasmine. I felt tears pricking my eyes as Audrey's own children sided against the family's toxic system. Kids, go back inside, a new voice commanded. I turned to see my mother striding across the sand, designer cover-up flowing, face set in determined lines. Mama, Zara called out happily, holding up her bucket of shells. Look what I found. Mom's expression softened as she looked at her granddaughter. They're beautiful, baby. We're staying in a condo. Want to see it? Zara, I said gently, Grandma's busy with her other family right now. No. Mom's voice was firm. No, I'm not. She looked at me, then Connor, then back at Zara. I would love to see your shells, sweetheart. And your condo. And spend some time with my granddaughter. Audrey's eyes went wide. Mama, Dad said. Your grandfather can go to hell. The words hung in the salt air like a benediction. I've spent 8 years choosing money over love and I'm tired. I'm tired of pretending, I'm tired of making excuses, and I'm tired of watching my granddaughter grow up thinking she's not good enough. She looked directly at Connor. I owe you an apology. A huge one. You're a good man and I've treated you terribly because of an old fool's prejudice. Mrs. Pierce. Call me Mom. Please. I know I haven't earned it, but, please. What happened next was like watching a dam burst. Mom followed us back to our modest condo, admiring Zara's shell collection, asking about our drive down, acting like the grandmother she should have been all along. This place is perfect, she said, looking around our small space. Cozy. Comfortable. Happy. It's not much, Connor started. It's honest, Mom cut him off. It's real. Not some performance funded by dirty money. That evening she called her father while we sat on the condo's tiny balcony, Zara asleep between Connor and me. Dad? It's Patricia. I need to tell you something. We could hear his voice through the phone, though not the words. Mom's responses told the story. Yes, they're here. My daughter and her family. More yelling. No, I won't send them away. Louder yelling. Then you'll have to find someone else to control with your money. The voice on the phone reached a crescendo, then cut off abruptly. Well, Mom said, setting her phone down. I guess I'm unemployed. Mom, I started. Best decision I've made in years. She looked out at the ocean, moonlight painting silver paths on the water. I've been so afraid of losing his money that I lost what actually mattered. What will you do? Start over. At 55, just like you said. Build something of my own instead of living off the approval of a bitter old man. He turned to Connor. I know I can't undo 8 years of hurt with one conversation, but I want to try. If you'll let me. Connor was quiet for a long moment. It won't be easy. There's a lot of damage. I know. But she's my granddaughter. Mom's voice broke as she looked at sleeping Zara. And you're my family. Both of you. I should have chosen you from the beginning. The next morning, Mom showed up at our condo with suitcases. I checked out of the resort, she announced. Can't afford it anymore anyway. Is there room for one more? Zara nearly knocked her down with excitement. Grandma's staying with us. If it's okay with your parents. I looked at Connor, who nodded slowly. The couch pulls out into a bed. Perfect. That day we had our first real family beach day. Mom built sandcastles with Zara, took hundreds of photos, bought us all matching t-shirts from a beach shop. She looked happier and more relaxed than I'd seen her in years. But the real test came that evening. Audrey appeared at our door as we were making dinner, her face streaked with tears. Mama, please come back. Dad's threatening to cut off everything, the house, the business, all of it. The kids need stability. The kids need integrity, Mom replied firmly. They need to see that family means more than money. Easy for you to say. You don't have 6 children depending on you. No, I have 1 daughter and 1 granddaughter who've been depending on me to do the right thing for 8 years, and I failed them. I won't fail them again. So you're choosing them over us? I'm choosing love over fear. There's a difference. Audrey turned to me, desperation in her eyes. Amara, talked to her. You don't understand what this means. I understand exactly what it means, I said quietly. It means she finally remembered what being a mother looks like. The kids will lose their school, their house, everything. Then maybe it's time for them to learn what the rest of us have always known, that happiness doesn't come from what other people give you. It comes from who you choose to be. Audrey stared at me, then at Mom, then at Zara, who was watching from the kitchen doorway. I can't lose everything. You already lost what mattered most, I said. You just didn't realize it. After Audrey left, Mom sat heavily on the couch. Did I do the right thing? What do you think? She looked at Zara, who was showing Connor a new shell she'd found, both of them laughing as sand scattered across the coffee table. Yeah, she said softly. I think I finally did. That night, as we all squeezed into the small condo, Mom on the pull-out couch, us in the bedroom, Zara between us clutching her favorite shell, I felt something I hadn't experienced in years. Complete peace. Outside, waves crashed against the shore in an endless rhythm. Inside, my real family slept soundly, finally together where we belonged. The next morning brought consequences. Mom's phone buzzed with angry messages from relatives cutting ties, Audrey's tearful voicemails, legal threats about the business. But Mom deleted each one without reading, her face serene. Regrets? I asked as we walked the beach at sunrise, Zara running ahead of us collecting shells. Only that it took me 8 years to find my backbone. We spent our last day building the most elaborate sandcastle Myrtle Beach had ever seen, 3 generations working together, laughing, getting sandy, being the family we were always meant to be. 6 months later, I stood in the kitchen of Mom's new apartment, modest, affordable, hers alone, watching her teach Zara how to make cornbread from scratch. The secret is buttermilk, baby girl. And don't overmix it. Like this, Grandma? Perfect. Mom had started her own small catering business, operating out of her apartment kitchen, slowly building a client base one honest meal at a time. The money was tight, but the freedom was priceless. Audrey had chosen differently. She'd crawled back to Grandpa Pierce, accepted his conditions, kept his money. We saw each other at the grocery store sometimes, exchanged awkward pleasantries, but the relationship was broken beyond repair. Her choice. Her kids, however, had started reaching out on social media, sending messages to Zara, asking about getting together. The older ones, especially Cameron and Malik, seemed to understand what had really happened and were quietly rebelling against the family's toxic system. Maybe when they're 18, Mom had said when I showed her Cameron's latest message asking to visit. When they can make their own choices without consequences for their mother. It wasn't perfect, but it was honest. The doorbell rang, interrupting my thoughts. Through the window, I saw Connor's truck in the driveway. He was picking us up for our weekly family dinner, a tradition we'd started after the beach trip. Daddy's here, Zara announced, flower handprints on her apron. As we gathered our things, Mom pulled me aside. I know I can't undo 8 years of pain with 6 months of trying, she said quietly. But I need you to know, choosing you was the best decision I ever made. Even if it was 8 years too late. Mom. Let me finish. You taught me something important that week at the beach. You showed me that love isn't about what you can afford to give someone. It's about what you're willing to sacrifice to be with them. She looked at Connor helping Zara with her jacket, at the simple happiness radiating from my small family. You sacrificed for 3 months to give Zara 1 week at the beach. I sacrificed 8 years of relationship with you for financial security I didn't even need. Who made the better choice? We both made the best choices we could with what we knew at the time. No, she said firmly. You made the right choice from the beginning. You chose love over money, family over status, integrity over comfort. I'm just grateful you gave me the chance to learn from your example. Outside, Connor honked the horn playfully, making Zara giggle. Come on, I said, linking my arm through Mom's. Let's go home. As we walked toward the truck, Zara running ahead, I thought about the family vacation photos still posted in our group chat. The ones showing 3 generations building sandcastles, laughing in the waves, being genuinely, completely happy. The comments had dwindled over the months as relatives chose sides or drifted away. But the photos remained, a permanent record of the moment our real family began. Sometimes the best family vacations aren't about where you go or how much you spend. Sometimes they're about who chooses to show up for you when it matters most. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, it's never too late for someone to finally choose love over everything else.